moment I saw the velvet box on his dresser, my heart skipped a beat. It looked exactly like the one he used when he gave me my diamond ring 3 years ago. The same dark blue color, the same golden ribbon. For a second I smiled, thinking maybe he was planning a surprise, maybe our love wasn't as broken as I feared. But then I opened it and the world inside me shattered. The box was empty. My ring was gone. That ring wasn't just jewelry. It was the promise he made when he knelt in front of me under the city lights and said I was his forever. It was a memory of trust, of hope, of everything I thought love meant. I searched the room like a madwoman, every drawer, every pocket, every shad, and then I found it. His phone. The last message on the screen burned through me like acid. She's going to love the ring. I'll bring it tonight. I remember my hands shaking, my heart thudding so loud it drowned every sound in that apartment. I read the message again, hoping I misunderstood. But there it was, my husband Mark, planning to propose to another woman with the ring that once sealed our love. I didn't cry right away, I didn't scream. I just stood there frozen until anger found its way through the cracks of my disbelief. How could he? After everything we'd been through, after the late nights, the sacrifices, the way I stood by him when he had nothing, he chose to betray me with something that belonged to me. That night he came home whistling. His shirt smelled like cheap perfume, not mine. He looked fresh, confident, almost glowing. I stayed silent, sitting on the couch with the box in my hand. He noticed it instantly. His smile faltered. "You went through my things?" he asked, pretending to be calm. I didn't answer. I just stared. For the first time he looked small in front of me. He tried to twist it, said it was a misunderstanding, said the ring was just a placeholder for his client's proposal. But I'd seen the messages, the photos, the reservations for the restaurant I'd always dreamed of going to. It wasn't business. It was betrayal dressed in lies. I told him quietly, "You can have the ring, you've already stolen enough." He didn't respond. Maybe he thought I'd break down, beg him to stay, or pretend it never happened. That's what I used to do, patch the cracks and call it love. But this time was different. I was done being the soft place he landed after ruining everything. I spent that night planning, not crying. For once I wanted to hurt him with the same elegance he used to destroy me. I went to the jewelry box where I kept every memory he ever gave me, the bracelet from our honeymoon, the chain he bought when he got his first paycheck. I took them all out and packed them neatly in the same blue velvet box, but I added something else too. My divorce papers, signed, sealed, final. The next morning he was still asleep. His phone buzzed beside him, her name flashing across the screen. I smiled to myself and placed the velvet box on the nightstand, exactly where his hand would reach first when he woke up. I didn't leave a note. I didn't leave a goodbye, just the box. By noon my phone exploded with his calls, then messages, then voicemails. "What the hell is this, Emily? You're overreacting. We can talk about this. You're making a mistake." But I was. The mistake was trusting a man who could take something so sacred and use it to deceive. The mistake was thinking love could fix a heart that only knew how to cheat. I moved out that evening. The apartment felt lighter without him, without his cologne masking lies, without his laughter that used to sound like safety but now felt like poison. I rented a small studio downtown, close to where I worked. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. The walls were empty, the air quiet, and for the first time the silence didn't scare me, it healed me. Days turned into weeks and rumors started to spread. He'd given her the ring, proposed to her at the same rooftop where he'd once proposed to me. People said she said yes. Of course she did. She didn't know that ring had witnessed my tears, my loyalty, my nights of waiting for a man who no longer saw me. I didn't attend the engagement party, but I heard it was lavish, expensive wine, city lights, photographers everywhere. He'd finally become the man he always wanted to show off, and she was his new trophy. But what he didn't know was that the papers in that box weren't just legal. They were the final chapter of my silence. I'd sent copies to his office, his parents, and our mutual lawyer. Everyone knew before he could twist the story. I made sure the world saw him for what he truly was, a thief of hearts and promises. He called me again after that. "You embarrassed me," he said. I laughed. "You embarrassed yourself when you sold love for attention." He was speechless, maybe for the first time in his life. I didn't want revenge in the loud, chaotic way. I wanted quiet revenge, the kind that made him realize he'd lost something real. The kind that echoed when he looked at the woman wearing my ring and remembered who gave it to him first. Months later I saw them in a cafe downtown. She wore the ring proudly, flashing it as she laughed, the diamond glinting in the afternoon sun. He looked restless, older, worn. Our eyes met for a moment. He froze, guilt crawling across his face. I smiled, not because I still cared, but because I didn't. That's what freedom felt like. After that, I started rebuilding. I took dance classes, started painting again, learned to cook for one without feeling lonely. I found joy in quiet mornings, coffee cups, and the peace that came when I stopped needing his validation. My friends said I looked different, happier, stronger, lighter. But sometimes, when I walked past jewelry stores, I caught my reflection in the glass and remembered that ring. The sparkle didn't hurt anymore. It reminded me of the girl who survived betrayal with grace, the girl who turned heartbreak into strength. A year later, I received a wedding invitation in the mail. His name was printed on it alongside hers. I placed it on the kitchen counter, stared at it for a moment, and then tore it into pieces. Not out of anger, but closure. He could marry whoever he wanted. I'd already married my peace. That night, I opened a small velvet box that I'd kept hidden in my drawer, not the one he'd taken, but a new one. Inside was a silver ring I bought for myself. Simple, elegant mine. I slipped it on my finger and whispered to my reflection, "You don't need anyone to promise you forever. You already gave it to yourself." People say revenge is best served cold, but mine was quiet, graceful, wrapped in the same box he used to betray me. And every time I think of that day, I don't feel rage anymore, I feel relief, because that box didn't just carry papers, it carried my freedom. Now when someone asks me if I still believe in love, I tell them this: I do, but not the kind that blinds you, the kind that wakes you up. He took my diamond ring to propose to another woman. I gave him my divorce papers in the same box, and that right there was the most beautiful exchange of my life.